Hey y'all, and welcome back to Lantern Creek Farm. A family member gave us some pears from her pear tree. Ended up giving us about 6 grocery bags full, and this is what we have left. We gave some away, some went bad, but not too many went bad. We didn't waste too many, but this is what we've got. They're ready to go. If I wait much longer, they're going to be past ready to go. They look wonderful. Can't really smell them, but I've tasted a couple of them and they taste wonderful. So specifically what we're going to be doing with these pears is doing pear preserves. If you haven't watched our videos, our previous videos from last year of how we do apples, we're going to be doing the pears the same exact way. We're going to cut, we're going to peel, core, cut, and then soak the pears in sugar overnight and then pressure can them the next day. So we're going to work through this fruit. I'll show you all bits and pieces, but it's pretty self-explanatory, peeling, cutting, and coring pears. I do want to show you the size. We're looking for about that size. You want it about that thickness when you're doing, or at least that's how I do it. That's about the thickness I want when I'm doing preserves. So that's where we're going to cut them about at. And so anyways, we got to get to work. Alright guys, we are making it through our pears. We've got, let me see if I can grab it one-handed here. Ooh, I don't believe I can. I'll flip the camera around. We've got this many pears left. These are some of the peels. We have a bowl of peels here as well. Like I said, we just have a few more to go. We've probably made it through about half. So what I'm going to do is take the pears that I have, I'll show them to you in a bowl, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in my pot and cover them up with sugar. We're going to cover them up with 7 to 8 cups of sugar. Now when I first started this, I did 10 cups of sugar based off somebody else's recipe, and to me it's just too sweet. So anywhere between 7 to 8 cups I find are perfect. It's not too much sweetness that it doesn't overpower the fruit once it's canned. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the pot. I'll show you all me doing that, and we'll pour our sugar over top of it. Alright, so we've got a 5-quart bowl here, probably about 4 quarts worth of pear halves here, as you can see. And we're going to pour them into this pan. Now, what we're, like I said, this is about half of them. I've probably got another 4 quarts here. What we're going to do is about 7 to 8 cups of sugar, like I said. I've just found that anything above that is just too sweet. Like I said previously, originally we used to do about 10 cups when I first started doing preserves. Just because it was an older recipe that I was following. But to me it just seems like it overpowers the fruit, and you're really just tasting the sugar and not the fruit. So we're going to pour these in, and then we're going to measure out about, I might do 7 cups, and then if I need to cover the fruit a little bit more, because obviously I am going to add more fruit to this. But what we're going to do is cover the, we're going to cover the fruit, or the sugar, with the fruit. And the reason why we do that is the fruit creates its own juice, and it's kind of like its own pectin. When you put that sugar, the sugar on it and let them sit, like I believe I said in the beginning, we're going to put them down in here, sit the sugar on top of it, and then we're going to let them sit overnight. And when we let them sit overnight, they're going to create that juice and that pectin in the fruit. We will cook them just a little bit the next day, and then we'll pop them right into our jars. And I am going to show you all that video. That's why I'm trying not to make this too long in the beginning. Okay guys, since this is about half the pears, we're going to do about half the sugar. So if we're doing, we'll say 8 cups, we're going to do 4 cups of sugar. This is something we don't want to mix. We're not going to mix the sugar in this. We're just going to pour the sugar over. This is what it should look like. So this is the first half. We're covering the pears up with the sugar. We're not going to mix this. We're just going to put the sugar on top Put the lid on and let it sit. Alright guys, I'm so sorry about the darkness. The sun is obviously setting. This has taken hours to do, and so like I said, we do not want to stir these. We're wanting to pour them in and then put the sugar over top. So no stirring. We're going to do 3 more cups of sugar. Where we're not stirring this too, we need to make sure that we're getting the sugar all the way around. I didn't with that first cup. I wasn't thinking. So. Oh! A little overfill there. This is the last and 3rd cup of sugar. And we're wanting to cover all of the fruit. All right. Okay. We've covered the fruit. We're going to put the lid on, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, guys, it's the next day. We've got some peppers dehydrating in the dehydrator. We've got our pears here. I was supposed to work on them this morning, but guys, the morning has turned into the afternoon. We had some chores we had to get done, and we have school we've got to even still finish. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on my pears here. I'll open this up and I'll show you what they look like. So as you can tell here, the pears have created their own juice with the sugar sitting on top. The only places you see the sugar is right there. And so all the sugar has melted down and created this juice for the pears. While I'm cleaning the jars, I'm going to get my pressure canner out, fill it full of water, and we're going to put it on the stove and allow it to come up to temperature. My pressure canner is very old. I don't even know how old it is, but it's really old, and it is made out of really high quality metal because it is so old. And so it takes a while. It's thick metal. It takes a while for it to come up to pressure. It takes a while for it to go down to pressure, and it takes a while for the water to heat up. So I go ahead and put the water in it before I start on the pears. And the reason why, or before I start heating the pears up, we're going to put, you always put hot liquid into hot jars. You never want to put hot liquid into cold jars. So we're going to heat up the pears. I'm not going to heat the pears up. I'm not going to bring them, or I'm going to try not to bring them to a boil. I'm not going to get them, I'm going to try not to stir them very much or anything like that. And the reason why is because when I first started doing this, the sugar breaks down the fruit, and so it's going to make it softer. They're sitting in liquid, so they're going to be softer. And the first time I did this, I cooked my fruit down and I stirred it too much, and it was kind of just chunks of fruit. So I lived and learned, and so I'm letting you all know, when you do your fruit, you want to just heat them up. Just warm the fruit up. Try not to stir it very much. I'm sorry. Try not to stir it very much. So, like I said, I'm going to start my pressure canner first. I'm going to let it warm up and get it pretty warm before I start on my pears. And like I said, I've got my jars soaking now. I used to, in previous videos, you're going to see where I boiled my lids. Since then, I have read that you're not supposed to do that, according to the CDC. So I no longer boil my lids. You can run them under warm water or warm soapy water and clean them. So I do that. I do that. But besides that, I do not boil them. So I'm gonna get my pressure canner getting going. I've got my pressure canner filled up and heating up. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get these pint jars washed. I'm just doing pint jars, and I do have a half pint in there if I need it, but I find that just doing them in the pint, no smaller than the pint jars. The half pints just don't seem like it's enough. It's usually just about 1 serving if you do that. So we're going to do the pint jars. You could do them in the quarts if you have a larger family, but there's only 3 of us, so we just do them in pints, and it works out well. Okay, here is our sterilized jars with our hot water inside of them. We've got our pressure canner heating up, and so we'll start heating up our pears. Okay, guys, so we're gonna turn the heat on the pears. Like I said, we've got our pressure canner heating up. It's warming up. We're going to heat these apples up. We're going to put them into our jars. We don't need to add anything to them. We're just going to put them in the jars. And then we're going to pressure can them at 10 pounds of pressure for 8 minutes. Now, my pressure canner, like I said, takes a long time. I mean, hours to come down from pressure. And so typically I'm going to let it sit for hours, probably most of the day. Usually if I can at night, I just let it come down to pressure throughout the night, because it even sometimes when I get up in the morning, depending on how late it was, maybe if I don't finish canning till 1 or 2, it's usually when I get up in the morning around 8 or 9, it still hasn't come down. It still has a little bit of pressure in it. So we don't want to mess up our jars, so we just let the canner come down to pressure. Like I said, it's really old. It's actually my husband's grandmother's pressure canner. I don't even know if she bought it new, so it's hard telling how actually old it is. But we're going to heat up our pears. We've got our pressure canner here that has our water in it. It's coming up to heat. Now we're going to set up our canning station. I've done a video on this before, but typically what I do is get a cutting board. I put a towel over it. I get me some vinegar water. I get me my jar lifters, a funnel, and then if I need salt or lemon juice or vinegar for a specific recipe, I have that sitting here. We also are going to wash our lids with some soapy water and our rings with some soapy warm water, and we will have them sitting here as well. I'll show you the setup once I get it together. What I've got in my station is a ladle, a metal ladle, because we're using hot products. We've got our jar lifters, something to get our air bubbles out, a little bit of vinegar, our lids, our funnels, and our jars are sitting over there with hot water. I'm not going to waste the hot water. It probably is going to look like it when I'm moving them. I've got a bowl here I'm going to be pouring our hot water into. We are going to use that water. I'm not just going to waste it. A lot of times people put their jars in the canner with hot water in them. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. It just depends. It's one more step to try to, get the water poured out of the hot canner, and sometimes you get burnt. So that's why a lot of times I don't do it. It might seem like a waste of water to do it that way, but if you're just, pouring the water back into a vessel to reuse it later, I'll probably wash the dishes with it later, so it's fine. Okay, guys, it's time. We're gonna start filling them up. We do want to make sure we get plenty of liquid in there. I didn't scoop much in, but, oh, well, we got a stoppage. There we go. You want to make sure your liquid is covering your fruit. So you can put fruit in there, just make sure that you've got liquid covering it. Start tucking everything in. I need to pack these down a little bit more. Wipe our ring off, and I'm gonna have to wipe the sides off too because I got them sticky. But we want to make sure that we're leaving about a 1/2 inch head space. So that's what we've done, and we want to make sure that our fruit is covered by the liquid. So now we'll wipe our ring, our top, our rim. We'll wipe our rim, put our ring on fingertip tight, put it in the pressure canner. By the way, though, look at that. Looks beautiful. Okay, so far I have made 7 pints, and I still have that much left. I'm gonna say I've probably got at least maybe 2 pints left and about a quart's worth. So I decided I'm gonna do a quart. I went ahead and sterilized and cleaned this, and so I'm going to do a quart. I got to thinking, well, maybe I could just have like a quart for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. So we're gonna see how much this makes, but it's done made quite a bit. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at the amount that it has made. All right, guys, we made 2 beautiful quarts. I was gonna make a couple pints, but I decided to just go ahead and do 2 quarts. So I've got one for Christmas and one for Thanksgiving. What y'all say about that? Look at this, though. Like, seriously, they are so beautiful. These are gorgeous. Gorgeous.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, Lakin said, Mom, I probably won't even eat these, but they're so pretty. They're beautiful. Well, so obviously I'm gonna have to up my time on my pressure canner. I'm gonna have to put a little more water in here too, probably. But I'm gonna see if these 2 quarts are fit. I'm gonna see. I've got 7 pints in here, so let's see if the 2 quarts fit. I really don't want to run the canner for just 1 jar. That jar is not going to fit. I'm going to pull one of these pints out. Just going to refrigerate it. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. We'll just refrigerate it, and we can eat them this week. They won't be preserved for later, but that's okay. They'll be preserved for my tummy, and we will we'll put them in the fridge, and we'll get the quart jar in here. In the canner, we got 2 quarts and 8 pints. We're gonna put the lid on. We're gonna do 10 pounds of pressure, and I need to check and see what I need to do for the quarts. It's 8 minutes for the pints, but it's probably longer for the quarts, obviously. So we need to check and see what the time is. I'll let you all know. All right, guys, I just looked it up. It's 10 minutes, so it's not that much of a difference. Actually, it probably should have been 10 minutes from the beginning. Well, it said 8 to 10 minutes. So anyways, so we're just going to do 10 minutes for the quarts. Now, if you are pressure canning and you have pints and quarts mixed, you always want to do the, whatever the greatest, so let's say you've got half pints, and quarts. You want to do the quarts. You want to do the length of what the quarts are. So we're going to do the time, which is 10 minutes for the quarts. Now you can water bath can these, and maybe I should have, I don't know. How I've always done it is in the pressure canner. I've never water bath canned them. They say that they will keep color better if you just water bath can them and not pressure can them. To be honest with you, the lids were already sealing where I put hot liquid into hot jars, so it probably would be easier to water bath can them, but we're just going to do the pressure canner today because that's just what I decided. So but you can do water bath canner or pressure canner, and it'll be okay. We pulled our cans out, and don't they look beautiful? I don't want to handle them too much, but there they are. Oh, I just hit them together. Ugh. But they're perfect. Beautiful. They turned out perfect. I will, after they've sat and settled, we'll show you what they look like tomorrow in better lighting. But guys, they're gorgeous. Alright guys, this is day 3 of finally being able to show you the finished product of our pears. I've recorded this 3 times and said peaches every time, and Lakin has stopped me and said, Mom, you're saying peaches. But I showed you a little bit of what they looked like last night coming out of the canner. But we'll flip them around and show you all of their gorgeousness and all of their glory. Alright guys, so in all, we got 6 pints in the pressure canner. One of them I put in the fridge, as you all seen. because it wouldn't fit in the canner. And we got 2 quarts. And I'm very pleased with how they turned out, how they look. I'm super excited to see what they taste like. So we'll have the pears that we didn't can that are in the fridge over the next couple days. So anywho, look at those. Gorgeous. And I love how syrupy they are. Can you kind of see the syrup? That overnight sugar really makes a good syrup for those pears to sit in. But I'm pleasantly pleased. All right, guys, we appreciate you hanging out on this 2-day process, 3-day video here. I want to make sure to remind you all to always make sure that you take your ring off of your canned goods. Once you have canned them, do not leave the ring on. That is for safety purposes. You can look it up, but it's definitely always make sure you take the ring off when you're storing these. I usually wipe them down in a good bit of vinegar water, make sure that they're good and clean. We take the ring off after 24 hours. So I usually let these sit 24 hours or more before I take the ring off. But after 24 hours, you can take the ring off, put them in the pantry. You want to keep them in a dark room temperature to cool area. Keep them out of the light, keep them out of the heat, and store with the ring off. But guys, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I hope you make some beautiful pears. I thought I said peaches there for a second. I hope you make some beautiful pears like these. But we will see y'all in the next one. See you later, guys.
Bye. Love y'all.